What's going on, Notre Dame football fans? Tyler Horka, Jack Sobel here at day 3 of Notre Dame's fall camp. Things flying by already. But this was definitely, I would say, even though we got to see an entire practice on Thursday, the first day of fall camp, this was probably the most interesting 5-minute segment, and that's all it was. The interesting part of it was 5 minutes, but boy, did we see a lot. It was one-on-ones, offensive skill players versus defensive backs, linebackers, and such. And Jack, I'm going to go ahead and say that I thought the offense won the day in that regard. It's kind of easier for them to do that in this capacity. But there was a defensive player who really stood out to you as well as you were watching the defense. Who was that?
That would be freshman safety Jadon Blair, the 6'5". Really, really tall. But
he would not fit in this frame.
What really stood out was Jadon Blair's long arms, intercepting one pass and breaking up another. And I think his only two one-on-one reps that I saw. I don't remember who he was going against or who was throwing. It would have been I think Anthony Rizek or Tyler Buckner throwing the ball. But that's not the point, because I didn't think he had any business getting his hands on those footballs. Reaches out, picks off one of them, knocks the other one down. Notre Dame has a lot more safeties than it knows what to do with right now, and Jadon Blair is one of them. He's going to be a good one, and if injuries come this year, maybe he gets his opportunity. But if not, 2026 and beyond, watch out for Jadon Blair.
And I say the offense won the day because, to me, and you can get into a little bit more of what you saw as well, there was really only one clear PBU that I saw on the field that I was closest to. And it was Chance Tucker, senior. Is he a fifth-year guy by now?
Yeah.
He's been around a while, working against the redshirt freshman Cam Williams, who I thought has looked pretty good just physically so far in camp. Cam's running like a curl, and there's not a lot of speed. I mean, there's speed to get to that point, but there's not a lot of change of direction and stuff. And Tucker just stayed in front of it, was able to bat the ball down. But when you got into some slants and you got into some go balls, I mean, I saw Elijah Burress absolutely cook a walk-on Mickey Brown, and Mickey Brown's a senior and Elijah Burress is a true freshman. So it was just like seeing the signs from these offensive players that you want to see. He beat him deep for a touchdown. Micah Gilbert, he won a rep.
Mark Zachary beat Mark Zachary.
Beat Mark Zachary. Logan Saldate, I believe, beat Ben Minnick. I also saw Scrap Richardson, another freshman, another one of these freshman wideouts, also beat Ben Minnick on a corner route. So when it got down to running routes precisely and opening yourself up to the quarterbacks, I thought the wide receivers did a really good job of that today.
Yeah, absolutely. I was focused more on the running backs and tight ends. Jeremiah Love remains extremely good at this whole football thing. He ran a wheel route against Jaden Osbury. He was a really good coverage linebacker, but he had no chance whatsoever. I think Love had like three steps on him by the end of the route. Aeneas Williams had a great out route against
Drake Bowen, right?
Yeah, against Drake Bowen. Obviously an impressive win for him. It's a tough route to defend as linebacker in one-on-ones, but I mean, Aeneas Williams is a really good football player. He showed it today. I thought the tight ends had a good day.
Yeah.
Jack Larson made a nice back shoulder catch against Jalen Stroman. Kevin Bauman beat Luke Talich over the top, which you wouldn't really expect to say given the kind of the disparity in speed between those two.
Right.
But I thought Bauman did a good job of using leverage. Pass floated just over the outstretched arm of Talich, and then
Ty Washington was in on the
Ty
the
Washington
tight end action.
had a catch against Stroman. Eli Reardon did a nice job of boxing out of Don Schuler for a catch. I will say another win for the defense. We didn't see this, but Eric Hansen did. The starting cornerbacks all forced incompletions against the starting wide receivers. Christian Gray might have gotten beat by Jordan Faison, but the pass was overthrown. Leonard Moore, really, really good rep against Malachi Fields, was all over him, knocked the pass away. Leonard Moore's obviously a fantastic player. That's only going to help Malachi Fields get better. And we saw later in the drill that Malachi Fields beat Creed Thomas on a little dig route. Pretty good coverage by Thomas, but Fields is just too big and too skilled to get covered on that route. And then Devontae Smith, who he committed defensive holding at one point in this drill. He kind of got borderline against Jaden Greathouse, but might not have been called in a game. He can get a little grabby, but nice forcing completion by him against Greathouse. So starting cornerbacks did a good job, but I thought, like you said, when it was a young player on young player, I thought the offense generally won.
And what you want to see as the camp goes on is maybe Malachi Fields does beat Leonard Moore later on, because like you said, once he lined up against Creed Thomas, a guy who hasn't done this as much as Leonard Moore has, there's only a year gap in between those guys, but Leonard Moore is just so far ahead. And then you saw when Malachi Fields goes up against Creed Thomas, he's ahead in what he does than Thomas is in what he does. So there's give and take with these one-on-ones, but my overarching takeaway was, okay, offense, you showed a little something. A note on the quarterbacks here, it is so hard to watch the physical one-on-one battle between a skill player and a defensive player, and also know who's throwing the ball into these guys. So I just want to make the note of there weren't too many bad passes. You mentioned the overthrow from Faison. We're not sure who that came from, but there was also one from CJ Carr where he was just not on the same page as his wide receiver. It looks like the receiver ran more of a corner and was splitting out and a little bit deeper, and where the ball ended up on the turf looked more like a curl route. Like, it looked like he thought the receiver was gonna stop right there. Other than that, I really didn't see a whole lot of, ooh, this was nasty by the quarterback. So that's a good thing. If the wide receivers are winning, that means the quarterbacks are allowing them to win, which I thought was a good thing too.
I'd also add that, like, one-on-ones, that quarterbacks aren't really who that's for.
No,
like,
absolutely not.
Gino Guidugli stressed in spring ball that, like, this competition will be decided in team. We didn't see any of that, so can't really take too much away from the quarterbacks. But I do agree with what you said. I really want to reemphasize Jadon Blair. He's the headliner today. He's the headliner today. He really, really flashed in practice. That wingspan, I mean, Kyle Hamilton. I don't think Kyle Hamilton was that long, and we pulled out Kyle Hamilton comparisons. Yes, Denbrock did yesterday with Tay Johnson, but I mean, Notre Dame's recruiting safeties in that mold.
2 of the first 3 days of camp, it was Tay Johnson, and now it's Jadon Blair. Those are 2. There's a redshirt freshman safety, and there's a true freshman safety. Like, Notre Dame is set.
They got some freaks back there.
Where else is Notre Dame set right now, and probably for a while as well? Running backs.
Correct.
We talked to them. It was their media day. Talked to 5 of the running backs, I believe. The only one that we didn't talk to was Nolan James Jr., the freshman. I guess when you have a running back room this loaded and you're the lowest guy on the totem pole, you're probably going to have to wait your turn, and that just speaks to what Juwan Sider, who we also talked to, the running backs coach, is working with. I mean, you have Jeremiah Love, who's probably the best running back in the country. He's probably not going to tell you that because he is so reserved, and we talked to him today. Just a really stand-up guy when he gets in front of the media. But, I mean, Jack, looking at these guys, talking to these guys today, I got a sense that it feels like they know what they have, and like they just put it out there last season in tandem with Riley Leonard. Obviously, the running game was fantastic. Pretty much everyone came back minus Devin Ford. You add Nolan James, like, this is the unit, man. Like, if quarterbacks do struggle at some point this season, lean on these guys because they're very impressive.
Well, it's a confident room, and they have every right to be. I have no questions about the running back's ability to run with the football. I did ask Aeneas Williams and Jadarian Price and Juwan Sider. Williams and Sider gave really good answers to this. Like, how can the running backs room really help the young quarterbacks? Because I think the guys lining up next to him, especially on those passing downs, that's a big part of their job. And Aeneas gave some good answers about, like, he can help. He can identify blitzers, adjust protection. Like, if the quarterback isn't seeing it, the running back can tap him on the shoulder and be like, "Hey, that guy's coming off the edge." And like, that's something Aeneas Williams, I think, is going to really specialize in. He is that. Like, Love is obviously the more dynamic player. I love Williams as that third down security blanket for these young quarterbacks, both as a pass catcher and as a pass blocker. And Juwan Sider gave a good answer too. He said, like, he's played quarterback before, and that's a big part of why he's good at his job, because he can kind of coach the running backs from the quarterback's perspective, if that makes sense. And he said that, like, you have to be, if the coverage is changing, if they're disguising it, like, as a running back, your job is to help identify that for the quarterback. And I thought that was really interesting stuff today, and that is the big thing I'm looking for in the running backs right now, because, again, I know they can run the ball. They know they can run the ball. Helping out the quarterback is their number one job right now.
It's that extra stuff. It's the cerebral stuff.
Yes.
Like, physically, these guys are every bit of what everyone is saying. And when you hear these things, you see it on social media. That's what these people are talking about, is the ability to run the football, the hurdles, the stiff arm, running through people, Jadarian Price going 70 yards for touchdowns. But if they add this stuff that you're talking about and you ask these guys about, then I mean, this is probably the ultimate strength of this football team, specifically from the offensive side of the ball, is what these guys might be able to do. And just one more note on, like, how deep this room is. You mentioned Aeneas Williams, and I was just talking about it with another media member. I was like, it's Love, it's Price. I don't see how you take what Aeneas Williams did last year and take that job away from him. So it's probably Williams. Who's your odd man out? It's either Keidron Young, who Juwan Sider today ranted and raved about. He said, that is a dude. He's going to be somebody for Notre Dame probably sooner than later. It just might not be this year. Probably won't be this year, because these guys are so good. And we don't even mention Jabron Payne in all of this as well, who, by the way, sort of had one of those Aeneas Williams-like roles 2 years ago before he injured his knee. So That's a long-winded spiel on the running backs, but I think it's deserved because we talked about them today, and they deserve all this recognition.
No, and I'll confirm your sentiment that, like, there are so many things a running back has to do that is not carrying the football that is so important, arguably more important with their job than carrying the football, and few understand that better than Juwan Sider, a former quarterback, and that's a big reason why I really don't think there's any way you can cut Aeneas Williams out of this rotation. He's just so good at all those little things.
Also talked to Chris Ash today. I didn't really hover around him much, was more talking to the running backs. I don't know if you ever made your way over there.
Yeah, I talked to Chris Ash for a little bit. Nothing too notable there. He's re-emphasizing it's not the Chris Ash defense, it's the Notre Dame defense.
Yep.
I asked him about potentially, forced safety rotation, given that how good Tay Johnson has been and the experience of Jalen Stroman and Luke Talish has obviously earned his opportunity. He said, they're going to figure that out towards the end of fall camp, but they're just kind of focused on developing competition and, Tay Johnson, the whole spiel about developing trust and consistency and all that good stuff. So not much to take away from that. I think we'll learn more about. I've been fascinated for a while by the safety competition. We'll learn more about how that's shaken out towards the end of fall camp.
For more on the one-on-ones, for more on the running backs, definitely more on Chris Ash, because we'll be able to give you a lot more of that in written form. Go to blueandgold.com. We get a little bit of a hiatus in the meantime.
Yeah, you guys get a break from seeing our faces on YouTube,
Yeah.
which is nice.
3 straight days of seeing us. I think it's 3 straight days of not seeing us. I think it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We will not be at Notre Dame's practices. We'll see you on Wednesday. We'll do this again. But again, in the meantime, blueandgold.com, because we will not take breaks there. There will be written content 24/7, round the clock. That's what we do. So we will see you guys next time.